He had quite a night last night in the NBA. Holy crow. So Tua, and we said last week, Sunday's going to be really interesting because you have big, strong, mobile, huge arm Josh Allen, small, less mobile, decent arm, not special, Tua. And I loved Tua coming out of college. I loved him. In fact, I said Tua 1, Herbert and Burrow next. And then right before the season started, Joy is my witness, I said, I'm worried about Tua. He hadn't played yet. And I said, I'm worried about him. I watch Herbert's size and arm and mobility. And I see Burrow's kind of flexible, Tony Romo, ad-lib, make-it-up coolness. And Tua's very system and very safe. And yes, he'll be accurate. But I worry about Tua, and this yesterday is what I worry about. 5.7 yards an attempt. That's playing it safe. And with a lot of young quarterbacks, it is harder to evaluate. They go to bad teams. Is the head coach right? Anthony Lynn, Justin Herbert, is he holding them back? The culture, the personnel. God, will the Bengals front office and offensive line be the undoing of Joe Burrow? Those are very fair questions. That's my question with both the Chargers and the Bengals. But with Tua, it's different. The coach appears to be great. The GM aced the draft and free agency. The culture, the momentum, the defense, the special teams, they're excellent. Now, the offensive line and the weapons are not great, but they seem to work for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yards per attempt, Ryan Fitzpatrick is 8th in the league and Tua's 30th. And when you watch Josh Allen on the same field with Tua yesterday, forget the number of games they've played, just the quantifiable it stuff, size, mobility, confidence, arm, swagger. It's a 4-point student and a 2.8 student. It's B- to A+. And I'm not saying, again, with Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, and even Josh Allen is a rookie, Patrick Mahomes' first start, year 1, week 7, there's like a whoa factor. Whoa, what did I just see? I'm 9 games in with Tua, and he's kind of, he moves pretty well in the pocket. He's accurate. That's kind of baseline stuff, right? It's like loving your kids, like accurately throws the football. I kind of hope you are. That should be kind of a given. It wasn't with Josh Allen, but you're not going to work in the NFL if you look like Andy Dalton did yesterday. You're just not going to work in the NFL. But I'm going to throw something at you. So we are all products, myself included, of our environment. I had kind of a witty, fun mom. I had kind of a serious dad. So sometimes I have a sense of humor, but I can be serious. We're all kind of products of what we're raised around. So let's look at Tua, who had a rigid, punitive father, a strong father. There was one way to play football, and it came from dad. And then he went to St. Louis High School in Honolulu, the best high school football program on the islands. Cal Lee, a legendary defensive-minded coach, was his coach. Cal Lee's got a system and a way to play. Defense wins games. Then he went to Nick Saban, who's got a system too, and he's a defensive coach. Just don't lose it for us. And then he goes to Brian Flores, who is also a defensive coach. That's his football environment. Strong dad, punitive high school, punitive college. Defense, 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 system, system, system. When I watch Tua, he looks like he's been raised around people that have told him, don't lose the game. Keep it accurate, keep it safe. We'll dial you stuff you can do. Now, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe this is just what he is. But if you had 4 defensive coaches your whole life and a strong-willed dad, maybe this is a little bit, maybe he needs a progressive young offensive coach. Maybe he needs a Brian Dable level coordinator, a risk taker. But when I watch him, he plays safe. Well, that's mostly what Nick Saban's coaches do. Tom Brady in New England was good, but he wasn't a big risk taker. Tom would throw it away. Tom even practiced getting sacked. Tom didn't make a lot of mistakes. Tom didn't just let it rip. Flores, Saban, Cal Lee, Dad. That's what he's been around his whole life. That's what he's heard. Those are the voices. You wake up, you can hear them. You go to bed, you can hear them. Maybe it's time to get him to loosen him up. Ryan Fitzpatrick clearly doesn't view football the same way. Ryan, I'd like to bring in a little bit. He's Mr. Loose, Mr. Gunslinger, Favre, very much like that. Tua is the exact opposite of the spectrum, where I just feel like he just doesn't want to make a mistake. And I think that's like thinking when you're shooting a basketball. If you're not, the late Kobe Bryant, if you're not willing to shoot an air ball, then you shouldn't be a shooter. I mean, 0 for 8 to the late Kobe Bryant meant, well, I've got to hit the ninth. I'm not going to miss 9 straight shots. Boy, Tua throws a pick. He gets a little more rigid. He gets a little more safe. And or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe they need better weapons and it'll correct everything. But just a thought. As we move into hour 2 on a Monday, folks, Michelin wipers, Walmart's the place you get them. Last 2 times longer. Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades in the Monday. Colin right, Colin wrong next.
These were the odd team out in the AFC playoff picture after losing to the Bills.
Wow.
Tua struggled against Buffalo, threw 3 interceptions in the game. The usually strong Miami defense also had a tough time. They allowed a season-high 56 points. And Josh Allen put up big numbers, 224 yards and 3 touchdowns before being replaced by Matt Barkley in the second half. This was the worst-case scenario for the Miami Dolphins.
And Tua.
Yeah. Yes. So, look, losing to the Bills is that's okay.
Yeah,
That's allowed. The Bills are a Super Bowl-bound team. They're playing out of their minds, and Josh Allen is having an MVP season. That's acceptable. Now, the defense, I don't have an explanation for. 56 points is a disaster.
Maybe it's just Buffalo's. Maybe it's Josh Allen.
Buffalo is playing incredible, but look, you're not going to have a Super Bowl performance by your defense every single